guys, it's Belvins and welcome back to my channel. My college decisions reaction video definitely did so much better than I thought it would, so I thought I'd come on and give you guys a little stats video. So here are the stats that got me into schools like the University of Hong Kong, Northeastern, UC Davis, and waitlisted from Berkeley, as well as got me through the first two rounds for both Tsinghua University, Beida University, and got me a first-class scholarship to Shanghai Jiao Tong University. For reference, I do go to a very small private girls' school, and also the college admissions process is very weird, so just because something worked for me doesn't mean that it's gonna work for everyone, and just because something worked for somebody else doesn't mean it's gonna work for me. Without further ado, let's get started. I have my Common App pulled up here. We're gonna go through my application from the strongest parts to my weakest parts, and then at the very end I'm gonna read my personal statement. Okay, so in my opinion, my strongest application parts were definitely my extracurriculars. I devoted a lot of my time to my extracurricular activities, which is something I actually do kind of regret. Like, even though I got so much fun out of them and they were stuff that I really loved doing, I feel like if I had spent more time on my grades and stuff, I would have gotten into better schools. So on the Common App, you're only allowed to list 10 activities, so I combined and shorten them a little bit, but on the UC applications you could list up to 20, so we're gonna base this off of UC applications. The UC application for the activities list is split into 5 sections, I believe: extracurriculars, educational preparation programs, other coursework, volunteering, and work experience. Oh, and then also awards, so I guess 6. Let's start with awards. I was very into math comp, especially my freshman year of high school. I'm just a very big math person in general, since that is my major. In 9th grade, I got my AMC 10 school winner, as well as qualified to the USA Mathematics Olympiad, which places me in about the top like 200 to 250 in the country. I also got the AMC Alchemy Award, which existed back then. I don't really know if it still is a thing now, but it's basically top 5 for all the girls in your region. For me, that region was the DMV. My freshman year, I also got the AMC 12 Distinction Award, which is the competition I used to qualify to USAMO. So for USAMO, you qualify through AMC 12, and for the USA Junior Math Olympiad, you do AMC 10. I also qualified to the USA Physics Olympiad that year, which was about the top 400. Then in 11th grade, I got my AP Scholar with distinction, which means that you had to get at least a 3.5 average on all your AP exams and 3 or higher on 5 exams. My school is actually not an AP school, so most of my AP courses I took outside of school. I will go through more of like my classes and stuff once we get to my grades later. Then for writing awards, I got the silver awards for the Cambridge Rethink Essay competition, which is about top 0.1% out of 13,000 people who participated in that competition. And then I was also shortlisted twice for John Locke. I believe one was high recommendation and the other one was just commendation. Next, for my work experience, I interned at like a medical aesthetics company in Shanghai over the summer of my sophomore year going into junior year. That company also had a collaborative program with Harvard and the Mass General Hospital, so I did an internship over there that lasted for about a year and a half. For volunteer work, I had about 72 hours of service outside of school, and then in school service hours I had about like 10. I think that was our school requirement, and then they changed it for our graduation year, so I don't know. But basically I did my service hours in China, so I helped students that had severe autism and Down syndrome and basically taught them like basic life skills like how to brush your teeth, how to wash your face. And I also taught them like some fun activities, like I would lead sing classes, easy dance classes, and just very simple stuff like that. For educational preparation programs, obviously I went to Promise. That was probably one of the best experiences of my entire life, and our group chat is currently on a 270 something day Wordle streak in our Discord. If that doesn't show you how close our community is, I don't know what can. Those were the best 6 weeks of my life. I got so many DMs this year asking me how I got into Promise and all that stuff. I feel like I should make a video on that, so I'm probably gonna make it sometime closer to next year's application cycle. I think results start coming out in like a few weeks, right? So good luck to everyone. Promise is such an amazing experience. If you get in, you should go over Ross and Sumac. But you didn't hear that from me. My next thing is that I also did a philosophy of math research with a professor at U Chicago, and I did write a paper from that. Okay, now for just extracurricular activities. I was on freshman and varsity crew team, although I did back out of crew team my junior year due to some unforeseen circumstances that I wrote on my additional information section on my application, so we'll talk about that later. But even when I was not officially on the school's crew team, I was still training outside of school with my own coaches and stuff. Next up is orchestra and the piano section leader, and also the percussion percussion section leader, since piano is technically a percussion instrument, guys, fun fact. We just have normal rehearsals, I think 2 to 3 times every single week. We have a few very big concerts every single year, including lessons and carols or our annual flower mart performance, which I'm super excited for. And then we just have our normal like winter and spring concerts. I'm also a part of my school's math team and set a few records with my ABA USAMO scores and stuff. Next, I am the Cathedral Dance and NCSSD dance team's captain. And then I also did put my like dance videos on social media and stuff on my extracurriculars. And I think those are my main extracurricular activities. Also, please ignore that I do sound a little bit clogged up. Allergies are so bad right now. Don't even get me started. If you can tell, I did spend a lot of time on stuff that I really love. So like math, so much math, and like I'm super passionate about all of my extracurriculars, especially like dance, rowing, and all that stuff. I think I'm the type of person that like if I'm passionate about something, I'll put so much effort into it. If I hate it, you can tell I hate it. Which brings me to my grades, which are probably the reason why I didn't get into better schools. Okay, let's talk about test scores first. I took the SAT. I took the first digital one, which was March of my sophomore year. I got a 1520 on that, so a 770 math and 750 reading. Should I have retaken the math section? Probably. Was I too lazy to? Yeah, I just got a 1520. I was like, it's above a 1500, I give up. Next up is my AP test. Let's start with date. My first AP test I actually took in 8th grade, which was microeconomics that I got a 5 on. My freshman year I didn't take any, and then my sophomore year I took 2. I took macroeconomics, which I got a 5, and also Calc BC, which I got a 5, which technically is also 3 exams because BC will give you an AB sub score, which I also have a 5 on. Then my junior year I went crazy and took 5 AP exams. I took US history, I got a 4, stat got a 4, chemistry I got a 5, English lit I got a 4, and Chinese, which I got a 5 on. And this year I'm planning to take AP Comp Sci, but I'm probably not going to do very well on it, let's be for real. I cannot code. I cannot code. So my school is an AP school, so for the classes that I took at school, I did take AP Chem, AP Stat, and AP Chinese. So those 3 were the only 3 that I actually learned at school, and everything else was self-studied. Also, if you're wondering why I didn't say I also learned BC at school, is that I was in pre-calc when I self-studied for BC and just took that outside of school myself. Okay, so speaking of which, let's talk about school. I hate history and English. I don't hate a lot of my teachers. I've had some amazing teachers for those 2 classes over the years. I just hate the subjects. So like I previously said, I'm one of those people who's gonna really lock in and do really well because I love the class, or I literally just won't give a fuck. And I happen to not really give a fuck for those other 2. Let's talk about my GPA. Freshman year, I had a 3.3 pulled down by history and not English. So sophomore year, I had a 3.54. Junior year, I had a 3.2 something. And senior year so far, I have a 3.5 again. Am I a little bit defensive about my grades? Maybe, but hear me out, okay? I do go to a very competitive private girls school, like I previously mentioned, and our school is hard. We don't get weighted GPAs, even if you take 4 AP classes, which you're not allowed to, by the way. I specifically remember just like recently, everyone came out of a multi-level calc exam, and we like literally mid-exam, we just all start laughing because we have no idea what the fuck we were doing on that test. I feel like a lot of people see my grades and they're like, oh my god, you must be a bad student. No, I don't think my grades define me. Junior year is a complete different story. We'll talk about that later, but I did take some of the hardest classes at my school that I could pick, especially my junior and senior year. I think my AP scores as well as my testing scores show that like I'm not stupid. I just like, I wish I could go back and like slap some sense into my freshman knee and be like, you gotta lock in on Mono World. Like you can hate that subject, but you need to lock in and grades do matter. I've heard from a lot of like my friends at other schools where they're like, oh, like 20% of our class have 4.0s. That's just not the case at my school, I think. School profiles do matter. So just because if you hear someone's GPA is low, it doesn't mean that I actually suck. The example that I wrote on my additional information section was that, for example, chemistry, I got a B plus in that class in 89. An 89 on the AP exam, since in the AP Chem class, would be a 5. And at another school, from what I heard, they've like would curve your test grades or do stuff like that. But for us, everything is like AP material. It is an AP class, so everything does follow AP guidelines. Yeah, an 89 would be a 5 on any given year's AP chemistry exam. On our report card, that is just a B plus. Okay, now let's talk about junior year. Emma, why did your junior year grades drop so much? Guess what? I'm about to graduate now, and I have an unconditional offer from other schools, so nobody can shut me up from talking about this. Basically, also why I left the crew team. My junior year was obviously recruiting season for all the juniors on the crew team. I did try to go down recruiting, did not work out the way I wanted for me. That's a whole different story for another time. Basically, there was a girl in my grade that did get recruited to an amazing school. At that time, I thought she was going to school A. She's actually going to school B, just saying. So to understand this, let's understand the structure of my school's crew team. We are technically an all-girls school, but we have a brother school. The brother school's crew team and our crew team would per se go to regattas together, and we're normally like signed up under the same name and stuff. It's like a collab big crew team, but like we don't train together. We do share like our erg rooms and stuff like that. So I don't know who started it. I don't know how it began, but let's call this girl Jane. A rumor went around that I'd emailed Jane's school telling them that they should not recruit her for blah 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 reason. That is as far as I know. I don't know what people thought that I emailed. I don't know what people thought I said about her, anything. This is all I was told. I just remember one day just getting called to the principal's office during my free and them being like, hey, so we heard this rumor going around. Do you want to tell us what's going on? Literally, that was my first time hearing that rumor too. So I was like, I don't really know what y'all are talking about. Like, that literally never happened. And then I was panicking because recruiting was really important to me at that time too. I give you guys permission to search my email, like my personal email, and I promise you I like never did anything. They were like, yeah, we believe you, it's fine. So I was like, okay, great, no big deal. And I just left. I don't remember specifically how it started spreading. I don't remember how it started going wild, but it basically went from people asking me about it, like some of my close friends being like, hey, we heard this, like what's going on, you know, what happened, to kids giving me looks in the hallways. I don't know, maybe I was oversensitive. To hearing about it online from like other people, you know, people would say like, hey, blah 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 was saying that you emailed or whatever. I was like, no, I didn't, like guys. To people sending me messages telling me that I'm a horrible person too, and then I did get death threats. Did I mention it on my Common App? I mentioned it for like 2 schools because I was ashamed, even though it's not my fault. I never did anything. Can we put that really big up here? Like, I never did anything. It's still kind of hard for me to talk about because it did impact my life a lot. I would go home and I would cry for hours because people were hating on me and because people literally told me to go kill myself, and that suddenly people that I thought were friends of mine would just literally ignore me in the hallways, and I felt like everybody in that entire world hated me. And I would go to my school's administration and ask them like, can you guys please do something about it? And my parents went to talk to them too, but they just basically told me to suck it up and that it would go away. That was before I got death threats. Oh my god, wait, don't cry. One of the internship programs I told you guys about, the collab with Harvard, I got invited to go to their ending gala, which was at Harvard, so I took 2 days off of school. I remember that night I was sitting in the hotel eating dinner. I was really happy. I was like, oh my god, guys, I'm like at this amazing internship program, and I got a message from one of my friends and it was like, oh my god, I heard that y'all suspended. I remember thinking like, what has my life gone to? I know it doesn't seem like a big deal, it's just people spreading rumors and stuff, but I'm also a year younger than everyone. I am the youngest person in my grade. I'm a December 2008 baby, so I'm also am on the very immature side. I guess I just wasn't strong enough as a person. I came back from that internship and I walked through the halls, and I remember passing by a classroom and immediately hearing people not get shot. Oh my god, guys, Emma Bao is back. I thought she was expelled. I thought they kicked her out. Blah 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 blah. It's like all the small stuff, you know, like people talking crap about you behind your back or even to your face, like telling you that everyone knows what you did, even if you don't want to admit it. Blah blah blah. That impacted me a lot mentally. So my second semester grades dropped significantly. I had a higher GPA than my sophomore year, my first semester junior year, and my second semester junior year. Just everything dropped. I managed to get myself out of it after a few months locked in for my AP exams and stuff, but if you slack for half a semester, your grades are gonna go up. As far as I know, they had a talk with the crew team. They were just like, hey, we know rumors have been going around. No one's allowed to talk about it. They didn't say that those rumors weren't true. They never said my name even in that conversation. They just said the boys were never even talked to about it, but the boys were the ones that actually started the rumor. I never knew if they found out who started spreading them. Obviously, I was also doing recruiting, so recruiting mattered to me a lot, and there were people who supposedly had like a list of schools that I was trying to get recruited at. People were like saying like, I'm gonna email all those schools and make sure Emma doesn't get recruited anywhere. I don't know that if I was oversensitive, maybe I should have been tougher. So that's why I had a really big grade drop my junior year. Going to senior year, I think I'm at a much better place mentally. I'm a lot happier. Maybe everyone knowing that, oh, we're graduating soon anyway, people are just like, whatever. Clearly those rumors were not true because that girl ended up committing somewhere else that like I didn't even know that she was going to go to until she announced. I genuinely thought she was going to go to another school literally. But those are just kind of my grades and academics and all that stuff and why I had a big grade drop. On the Common App, they also do ask you a little bit about your family, so I'm just going to say a very rough background. I am an only child. My mom and dad are married. Don't have any siblings. Wish I had a big sister. Both of my parents did go to college, and income wise we're probably in the middle class. My parents did both go to college college in China. And for the very last thing, as I promised, let's read my personal statement. At 20th century's dawning, David Hilbert proposed an ambitious vision of mathematics, Hilbert's program, formalizing all of mathematics to a set of axioms and proving it with the financiary methods. Hilbert believes in the structure and supremacy of order and proposed that if the universe of mathematics could be reduced to an internally consistent system, then uncertainty could be conquered through pure reasoning. To Hilbert, mathematics is a proof of humanity's ability to impose clarity upon the abstract and unknowable. During much of my life, I preferred Hilbert's kind of order. His consistent structure became my silent guardian, where discipline was safe, and neat lines could hold back the chaos beyond them. My days unfolded like proofs, structured, justified, and predictable. School led to math competitions, rhythmic gymnastics led to tournaments, piano practices led to performances. I adhered to my scheduled precision, convinced that it would produce measurable excellence. Even my stuffed animals went to sleep in their assigned bunks. This world held a certain comfort. If I adhered to my axioms, the world would unfold in neat corollaries. But Hilbert's dream was undone by Kurt Gödel. His incompleteness theorems revealed that any system, no matter how elegant, will contain truths it cannot prove. Completeness and certainty were illusions. There will always be the truth that lies just beyond reach, truths that resist formalization, that insist on being experienced rather than derived. My own incompleteness arrived not as a theorem, but through the slow, hormonal defiance of indolence, when the urge to challenge feels as natural as breathing. K-pop entered first, uninvited and unexpected. Blackpink's Crazy Over You spilled from a speaker, and instead of sleeping as my schedule dictated, I found myself mirroring choreography in the dark. My body moved not from logic but from instinct, something unmeasured and unplanned. Soon the cracks widened as we chanted sacred verses in the locksteps, the campus priest, our weekly rituals of reverence and unity. I felt a joy irrational yet electric. If God is omniscient, omnipotent, and omnibenevolent, do humans still have free thinking? It wasn't rebellion, it was something more primal, an existential surge. Later in ceramics, while everyone was shaping perfectly symmetrical vases, my fingers moved like they do when I played the piano. One hand pressed harder, the other hesitated. The result was a lopsided, unpredictable form. But in that asymmetry, I saw something more honest. These acts did not serve a utilitarian purpose that progressed my academics or won accolades. It was here outside the system that I began to understand that not everything vulnerable can be measured or proven. Dance gave form to emotions that I had never allowed. Religious questioning gave form to a hunger I didn't know I carried, a space to fearlessly challenge traditions and to discover that doubt could live alongside faith. My lopsided vase became proof that sometimes the only way to fully understand form is to challenge it with intent. If Hilbert taught me the power of order, Gödel taught its limits. Together, they shaped my conviction that the deepest truths are often the ones that resist near derivation. Unrestrained by axiomatic rigor, new mathematical endeavors could be undertaken. Proof theory, computability, and Turing machines, Platonism versus formalism. No system is complete, and perhaps neither should it be. My life resists total formalization, not out of chaos, but out of a deeper pursuit of meaning. I still value discipline, planning, and pursuing ambitious goals. Yet, what excites me now is the tension between logic and passion, between what can be proven and what must be felt. In mathematics, I attempt bold approaches only after grounding myself in axioms. In life, I honor structure but also dare to dance beyond it. I don't just want to learn and put it into practice, but also to challenge the edges of questions that are taken for granted and to see creativity in their cracks. And that is everything for my stats video. If there's any questions you guys want, make sure you ask them in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoy. I hope that I helped you maybe in some way. And once again, just to clarify, what happens to everyone in their life experiences during the 4 years of high school is different. What people prioritize is different. What people find passion for or really want to go for or focus on is different. Just because something worked for someone else doesn't mean it's going to work for me. Just because something worked for me doesn't mean it's going to work for someone else, etc., etc., etc. The college process is so unpredictable. That's the only thing I learned my senior year. So thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!